Hello everyone, and welcome to Queeries, your local community advocacy and comedy podcast. Plug your amps in and put those headphones on because this week is all about music, baby.
Hello, welcome to Queeries. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Slayde.
And we're going to be talking today's episode about music and kind of how it shapes the queerness and our identities and kind of who inspires us. So let's deep dive into this.
Yes, we very much see in our community how music is very influential and it impacts a lot of people. So we're going to dive into that, talk a little bit about our genres, what we do and don't like. We're going to talk about some live concert experiences, some clubbing experiences, and also Pride, because it's Pride Month this month, and we're going to really dig into that and show everybody what we got.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
So let's start off with the category of pop. I feel like it's a genre that we both dabble in a lot. It's probably my most listened to genre. It just provides a lot of like different sounds and beats. It's popular music, so I feel like it changes with like the vibe of like, you know, us and what we're feeling. Like, are we feeling moody? Are we feeling dancey, electronic, trap? I feel like society goes through like ebbs and flows of kind of like what they like to hear.
I agree.
Yeah, my current favorite pop artist right now is probably Tate McRae. I am obsessed with the way she handles like choreography and her sound. It's giving synth pop. It's giving like Y2K, but not too much. You can tell like she's really influenced by people like Ariana Grande that I also really love.
Same.
So it's just, you feel the inspiration and you feel the power when she performs, and her songs are so catchy. I can't get two hands out of my head or a sports car. I'm just like, oh.
Whoever to a song, you're kind of listening more for the aura than like the specific lyrical.
Yeah. And pop music just gives me a lot of oomph, and I like oomph in my music.
I think, and we differ in the way that we look at music and listen to music. I'm very much coming from that lyrical sense, while also very much a dance kind of vibe. Like, I need a good beat to dance to, but I also need lyrics to be able to connect to. When it comes to my pop girlies, it's a lot of Miley. Her new stuff is a lot more experimental, but I mean, she's known as a popular artist. So I put her in pop category because we're doing categories, because that's the whole point of this conversation, is to talk about categories and why they should and should not exist. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, Miley is also a really good one. I also really like Addison. She's doing amazing stuff right now. Talk about synth pop and Y2K. Like, she's really leaning into that. I feel like it's giving like new age Britney. It's like influential and like expressive and powerful, and I feel like she pulls a lot of the same kind of like knit and grit. And I feel like she's not afraid to get sexy. She's not afraid to get dirty. She lives authentically, and she just like walks around proud. Like, this is who I am. I'm that bad bitch, and you're gonna pay attention.
So Miss Tinashe, also Nasty Girl. She's up there in both yours and I's discography listenings.
She is very influential for me. She's a little bit more R&B and soulful for me, but definitely gives pop energy with her like really big like dance hits too. So
I think that's always been my issue with the category of pop, is because what's popular to me is not always popular to everyone else. And so when I say something's pop, Tinashe, I would put her as pop because she's popular to me. Yeah, she's also R&B, but that's why genres, again, is one of those weird things where artists fall into several different genres at the same time.
Absolutely.
And they change over time. And I think that it just traps a lot of people.
Genres are really stratified these days, and there's so many niches that people can get into.
And that's the reason why I also love genres and putting people in categories, because it gives certain people with specific sound, like reach, and more like able to get to people and, you know, experiment with their sound. Whereas if it was all like together and not categorized, I feel like it'd be harder to find those more niche artists or those ones that provide different sound than the modern like popular base is pushing.
Yeah. And we're going to get on clubbing and stuff later, but I really think it's important to know that popular music changes, and we need to be changing with that in the way that we support that. Popular music is very led by women and queer people these days. But when I'm at the club, I'm not hearing queer people, not hearing women. I'm not hearing a lot of women of color. It's a lot of straight men being played in my queer spaces. And that just pisses me off sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes there is a little bit too much like Pitbull, will.i.am, vibe. And I think that's just mostly going to what's popular now and that sound of like Brat and Addison and other people really diving into the Y2K fantasy right now. It's important to like, reference and like know your sources, but not like copy, especially. But that's a whole different thing than just like the club, because they will just play like straight men at the club sometimes too. And I'm just like, okay, this is a queer club. I want like my Troye Sivan if we're playing men. I really want my Orville Peck. Yeah, I want my queer artists shown in queer spaces. And so sometimes I feel like popular music is a hindrance because it also plays the same old songs that we've heard a million times.
And it just, I need a variety in the DJing as well. There just needs to be a variety of people who come in, and there needs to be like a selection process. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity because we have a lot of DJs in the scene around here that are very motivated to put themselves forward, express themselves fully. It's hard that we live in a world where we have categories, but we don't want to be defined by labels.
It's a hard thing to balance, and it has its pros, it has its cons. But then you look at like legacy pop girls like Ariana, who's been like here for like over 10 years, and like her sound has consistently been popular. And so pop music also really celebrates people like her and Gaga and Beyonce, who really put in the time and effort and built connections like with fans. So I feel like popular music goes beyond just a certain sound, but it goes to the audience as well and how you make them feel.
Work. And I would think that there are certain sounds that are often in pop music to help draw attention to them. I think it's that Maren Morris song, Meet Me in the Middle or whatever. There's a specific tone in there that is specifically attractive to our senses. And so that song was very popular at the time because it had a specific tone in there that really got our attention. That's the psychology behind it. That's what I like to do when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we definitely approach music very differently, whereas I'm all about just like, I'm here for all different types of music. I just like to be experimental. I also like to view it through like a boom speaker and not just like headphones. I like a surround sound experience. I like to hear like, it bounce off of a wall. I like it to rattle more. I like it to give me some bass and some treble and actually kind of feel the music as well as hearing it.
That's super bass.
So it helps me get my juice, drink my juice.
Drink your juice, Shelby.
And so it's really nice to have that experience for me. I don't know how you particularly prefer to listen to music, but I feel like I also hear you listen to it out loud a lot.
Yeah, I think I like it just how it naturally comes to me in the moment. Sometimes I'll listen to it on my phone. Sometimes I need my speaker. Sometimes I need the TV and its big ass soundbar and subsystem. Or sometimes I just want some headphones that I can cancel out the rest of the world for. It kind of depends on what I'm wanting. If I need that privacy, if I'm trying to listen to some of my like more intimate music and I just need to be able to focus and like kind of shell myself in with my headphones. Love that noise canceling situation. It was great for flying. It's great for walking. It's great for sitting in a room full of people because I don't always like to talk to people.
I feel like another one that we really, really get into is hip hop. We love to throw ass. We love to get down. Feel our shoes, move our hips, and hip hop does that for me the most.
R&B and hip hop both are like those two foundational core elements of my heart.
Yes.
When I hear a good bass, the booty starts moving, the hips start moving. It's honestly instinctual at this point. So if there's a beat, I'm a be shaken to it. I've wall twerked to country music. I shook ass at the sanctuary at church camp. I've shook ass everywhere.
Okay.
I shook ass on the other side of the planet. Crazy.
I be dancing all the time, and I be dancing to Glorilla a lot. She gives me that like, I'm gonna punch you, and I'm like, it turns me on. I'm like, yes, mama,
don't mess with me.
It makes me just like want to embody that spirit when I listen to her music. So I'm like, I'm that bad bitch. I'm gonna drop it to you. I'm gonna serve it with some extraness, and I'm just gonna get trappy. I'm gonna I'm gonna pop off. And so I feel like Glorilla really gives me that spirit.
Yeah, I can see that. I started. Iggy is one of my big ones. Iggy Azalea. I don't always say her last part of her name because we know her as Iggy. Igggy. Okay. That's what we're moving on with. We also have Miss Cardi B. Miss Cardi B is big girly for me. She has definitely taught me to embody myself and be very proud in who I am. Her Invasion of Privacy album has a lot of good material in it, especially if you're like really struggling with your self-confidence. She can really give it to you every ball and make you feel real good.
She got those fun ad-libs too, where she goes,
yeah. I love that.
And she just isn't afraid to make a fool of herself. And she just is like, yeah, I know, making like a funny statement or like, you know, dancing funny, but it's all a part of like her zhuzh and her vibe. And it's just like the go lucky, like
Megan.
Yeah, but don't push me. Don't poke my bear now. And then Miss Cardi gonna throw a shoe at you.
Met Gala.
Or I guess maybe Nikki threw the shoe. But she will fight you.
She will fight. She will fight. I also love that her story is growing up in, I think it's the Bronx, and like being a stripper and like being able to form her creative career out of doing the things that she needed to make the money to get successful. And work, bitch. Like, honestly, impressive.
Love it, hip hop.
Do I need to strip?
And I have a really niche artist that I've been really enjoying lately. His name is Machiavelli God, and he makes me feel my zhuzh. Like I feel like my mask bro when I listen to him. It's like the gym music for me. I'm just like, the way he spits is like Nikki if she was a man and white.
So Roman.
Yes.
Oh, well, I guess Roman's not white, but
Roman's make believe.
Yes. Alter ego. Doechii.
Yes.
SZA.
Great
women.
Nicki Minaj. Miss Onika.
I think SZA is, of course, someone who we've bonded over a lot. And I have listened to SZA since I had been introduced to her through my friend Kate. And since then, a full fan. Love it. I think the first song I ever heard was the Calvin Harris remix of The Weeknd. And then I was
funky remix.
Yeah, the funk. I think that's what it's called. The funky remix. That was my first situation with her. And then I started listening to more of Control. And then she came out with SOS, Saved My Life, blessed me with beautiful sound. Then she came out with
Lana.
SOS Deluxe or Lana, which is basically a whole other album, which I'm like, bless you, sister, but also make it separate. I get it. Transition. I do like the way that she does have a transition, though, in the album. So that's nice that it's at least cohesive and together.
Yeah, SOS was my breakthrough with her because the sound that she created, it was just so like smooth and sultry and sexy, but also very like vulnerable and approachable and like that girl next door, you know, Miss Good Judy.
Yes.
And so I just felt like I was like her friend, like listening to her music.
Exactly.
It's like a feeling that I have listening to certain people and like how I interpret hearing their sound. And I really appreciated getting to know how in touch she is with like nature and her womanhood and her blackness and everything. She just is not unapologetic and lives authentically. And I think that's where everybody truly shines, no matter what genre you're in. So.
Exactly. I think living authentically, doing things for you as yourself without the impact of other people's thoughts and opinions is the best way to live. And I know that sounds incredibly difficult, but the second you can understand how authenticity can transform your whole livelihood.
Yeah.
Because when you start to step into yourself and you start to recognize who you are, then other people start to recognize who you are. And you treat yourself the way you want other people to treat you. So if you're going to treat yourself like not so great time, then you're not going to be a so great time to other people either. Mm-hmm. You have to put in that work. And I think that that's where music is really good at connecting people, because you could be down in the dirt, not having a great day. Or I guess I'm typically that one. I could be down in the dirt, not having a great day, but then I hear some Cardi B happening in the other room. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, maybe I could cheer up a little bit. Maybe I could go put on a smile.
Yeah.
She releases those hormones in our bodies, those feel-good hormones, makes us feel good and ready, hyper up.
Juices are flowing.
Excuse me.
You know, it just also makes me feel like I just have imaginary breasts that I like to like, ooh. And like when I'm wearing a wig and I flip my hair back, I feel like Miss Cardi B herself.
T.
So it's all about just the embodiment of what they're trying to convey. That's my favorite part. And how you think like R&B and rap is your zhuzh, which gets you going. I really be loving the electronic dance section, because that for me is what's I feel like most current now.
I think that that moving into getting a feeling from a song rather than having to hear words to get it. I think that that's a very unique and honestly very hard way to convey an emotion is through your sound alone. If there's no words, I'm a lyric person, so I need those lyrics to latch onto. Yeah. I guess I don't need it. I can listen to Odessa and Nightmare and some other artists in that realm who don't necessarily use lyrics, but I do prefer to have some lyrics to go to listen to be able to sing along to, because, you know.
Yeah, because there is like that rave side where there is no words, but then there's the girlies that do add the lyrics, like Miss Kim Petras. Like, I think she is really good at really mixing that electronic dance sound, making people want to get up and fist pump and just be dirty dance floor sluts, which is my forte. And then also Miss XCX, like I feel like her vibe with Brat was also very electronic dance, and I felt like it brought electronic dance to the forefront of mainstream. And so having that inspiration and following her for so long and her to get to, you know, this peak of what electronic dance is for her, I'm like a full circle moment, and I'm so proud of her.
This summer feels different without Brat. Like it feels different not having that like big Brat energy coming into the summer, because she launched that shit and it was,
I mean, it's still around. People are still using Brat this summer because it's a substitute of not having something like that hardcore yet.
Yeah. And I think that we're waiting for that maybe. There's some albums coming out soon.
I mean, Brat Part 2. Blood Orange, supposedly, allegedly.
Who is that?
Miss SCX.
Blood Orange?
Yeah, that's supposed to be Brat 2, supposedly. Oh. I'm very excited that she released it at Coachella and was like the set list and the people involved. So I'm like really excited for that.
Ooh, work. I did not know about Miss Blood Orange.
Yeah, it's going to be a different vibe. It's kind of like my nails.
Was that inspiration for your nails?
No, I didn't think of it yet.
Oh, music as an inspiration.
Before it happens, intuition. I'm prepared.
She's ready. She's ready in case it drops tomorrow.
Yes. You know, she likes a surprise drop, so you gotta be ready.
And I think that that's honestly the best way to do it. Because SZA had an issue this time with Lana. She set a date that she was going to release it. She set several dates, actually, and it just kept getting pushed back.
Yeah. A lot of that could be, like, corporational, too, and them wanting to release it at peak, like, revenue time, or, you know, all the other jazz.
She wanted to get her mixes right. She wanted to make sure it sounded like her, and she wanted to make sure it sounded like the rest of the album and the work itself.
But when it's a surprise, it's a lot more, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know I needed this.
And with her launch, it didn't come out at midnight, and we had to wait. And I was like, I don't want to go to bed until I've heard Lana.
And then we sit and we wait, and then we wait again, and then a few months, and then we wait again.
Yeah.
I get it. The frustration was real with that one. And so I feel like that's the only bad side about like promotional marketing sometimes.
Yes, because with this whole podcast situation, like we've now said and put the expectation out there that we're doing this every week for Pride Month. That's a lot. I mean, we went from maybe one episode a month to now we're doing 4. We are up for challenges, and that is in fact what we are giving ourselves today.
It's a gay goal for you.
Just a little gay goal. Just a little gay goal.
Alliteration.
Ooh.
Anyways, but I also just give me your thoughts on like some more EDM girls or just like dance girls, like Miss Slayde. I feel like she really gives you that kind of same Cardi B vibe, but if she was like electronic, like she came from
that like hard.
She's a girl's girl.
Yeah.
I get such feminine, strong energy with her. Like she just leads the pack in that.
So why do you feel like it is that like the Y2K sort of like early 2000s aesthetics are kind of coming back into the forefront?
Yeah, I think it's probably just because people find joy in like happy, dancey music in sad times. It allows you to take a break from what's happening in the real world and the political atrocities or the humanitarian stuff going on that our world needs to face head on. And, to get through pain, a lot of us have to find routes of pleasure to, escape sometimes, to give ourselves, mental breaks and mental clarity and like refresh our batteries. And I feel like people want a happy, fancy sound in times of stress.
Yeah, I think one of the issues that we fall to right now though is that we're picking and choosing who we want to pull from that era, and again we're seeing it be primarily straight cishet people. It's saturated. Our ears, our public eye, everything has been so saturated by cishet community. And like, they have to exist. We love them. But we need to make sure that we're representing, there we go. We're representing everyone. And that includes the queer community. And the queer community is only getting bigger. But there's a whole reason for why men are always pushed to the front. In music and life, everything. Like, we want to make sure men are up front because it's a male-centered world. Everything is male gaze. Everything is done so that a man feels good about the situation. I know I'm talking a lot about men right now. Well, it's not necessarily men in music. It's the people who are promoting them aren't always doing it from a place of wealth, or like, when I say wealth, like spiritual wealth or like harmonious wealth.
The industry is really patriarchy forward.
Yes, like they want to make sure the men are succeeding all the time and the women are being kind of pushed down into corners. And of course, that's not always what's happening because we have modern media, we have access to so many different people. But without the small voices speaking for the other small voices, they don't get heard very often.
I feel like I agree that there might be some DJs that aren't pushing the right music, sometimes we're in the right spaces. But I do feel like this is a woman's world in music. I feel like if anything, women support women, straight people support women, the gays, the queers, everyone supports. And my POV view, like a lot of them are like promoted and like really successful, like Beyonce, Gaga, Sabrina. It just comes at a cost of something that men don't have to pay for, which is like the objectification that women get that men don't always get. So they have like unfair advantages in that way. But I do genuinely think that females are pushed. And I feel like, especially by our community and allowing them to have those like safe spaces and to feel backed by us.
And I think it really comes down to the fact that they separate us. And that's where my issue with genres comes into play, because I have a bigger issue with just labels in general and like the things that divide us naturally. Because nature, as you can tell by looking outside, does not necessarily have borders with themselves. Nature intertwines with itself. It talks to each other. It's all interconnected. So for us to break down things and make sure that, well, this person fits in here and here alone, and this person fits over here in this part. And I know that that's not necessarily how it's done anymore, but I feel like that's where the foundations came from, is making sure that things are separated. So each person has their own lane to go into. And I don't want to be compared to this person over here because it's very comparison. Like, we don't need comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. Correct. So if we take down those walls, we're able to then see everybody as equal, rather than, oh, well, this genre is pop is the best because it's popular. Like this.
But you also have stuff that's related to like culture, like hip hop and R&B. Like, you're always going to have that genre because it's connected to a culture. Same with Latin music, same with dance music. It all stems from a culture of people that like hearing that sound. So I don't necessarily think that genres are always a bad thing for me. I do like see the appeal in wanting to break them down and to make everyone equal. However, certain genres are just listened to more. Like wholeheartedly believe there's way more people listening to Drake than there is Casey Musgraves. While maybe unfortunate is the team.
Lies, Vanilla. Lies.
So, you just gotta find your pockets and like the people that get the sound, people that vibe. And not to say that Drake isn't a vibe or Casey isn't a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
You just have different times in your life where you feel like you maybe prefer one sound over the other. And popular music determines what that is and who's at the forefront. And right now, I'm glad to say that it's like Bruno and Gaga and ruling the game. And I'm so proud of them because they're like legacy people that no matter how much time passes, no matter what genre they dip into, because they can do everything, they're still like loved and adored just because they bring the culture, they bring the authenticity. And so when you give people spaces to celebrate in genre, I feel like it really empowers them to do the best that they can because it is their space. It is their lane. Like they want other people to, have those categories for themselves. And the competitive nature isn't always fun. And, like, especially like the Grammys and having debatable like winners and like what really was, the most popular. Yeah. You have like those institutional places where it's not fun, but genres themselves, I feel like are rooted in good faith and good culture.
I don't know. It sounds like I'm preaching a lot of separation, but I know what you mean. I'm preaching the deterioration of separation.
No, there's a pro and con to both statements, and that's what we're expressing. That's why it is the way it is that because it does offer something so good to so many people and allows them to have their niche that it's just like, what would you do without it, or like would you be successful without it? And so I feel like just because just the world we live in and how people are pinned against each other or like judged and compared against each other. Instead of just openly like loving music, like I get what you mean. Yeah, it just isn't that way. It's all money based capitalism. No, and that's the part that needs to go, and that's the part that's attached to the white cis, exploitation of men, like like that are controlling the scene behind the curtain. That aren't the ones pushing the art. They're the ones pushing the money.
When art is all about how much money you can make at the end of the day. It's not art. That's doing like literal work. Like you're not pouring creativity into something if all you want to do is make money on it.
Yeah. And that's when I feel like when I want to take a step back and like not focus on like the noise or, just an upbeat, like dancey tune. That's when I really love to dive into like that folky or just country music even. I find like solace in like kind of slowing down a little bit sometimes, especially like around bed or like on a long car drive, and then you just put on some like Casey Musgraves, what we've been pointing out, like she just has a nice hopeful sound. She goes into a deeper well. She like shows more experiences to life than, the party scene or the trap scene or the popular scene. Like she gives you a retreat to something different.
And she's all about the girls and the dolls and
the planets.
Yes. And that's something that I really want to use this platform as is a way to make sure that we're talking about the queer people in music and making sure we're giving them shine spotlights because that's our mission as queer people is to uplift each other. We are a community that needs to be a community. We need to be with each other. We need to support each other no matter our differences. So we need to just make sure that we show up for our people. Even if, sometimes...
Even if they're allies too. Because, like, most of, like, popular artists that we listen to are, like, straight individuals or lean straight.
But they get enough.
Yeah.
I don't want to shout them out. They get enough.
I mean, Gaga, she's straight. I mean, Casey, she's straight.
Queer in her ways.
I mean, she has
Casey's
queer expressions and, like, she surrounds herself with queer people, which makes her popular because she... is able to lean into that culture and to that identity and express herself through that.
That's why we define queer as anything that's different. SZA's music is extremely queer. Like the way she writes, the way she structures her beats, the way everything hits is all different than what a normal R&B artist would do. So that's where that like she supports the community as well. So we have those allies, those people. Again, when I say kick the straight people, I mean the people who are not about dolls and the girls and the gays and the days and everyone.
Yeah, because you could be like cis or straight and still support that. And that's most of the girlies. And that's why I find a lot of like inspiration through is because even though like I've been through a lot. Gaga has always got me through it. Even though I'm neither a woman, nor am I like, you know, her 30-some-year-old self with different views and things. But like, I find a lot of heart in her music because I know she pulls from a lot of people that surround her and a lot of inspiration, like David Bowie and other queer individuals, Freddie Mercury, like Elton John. She pulls from a lot of queer people and a lot of queer inspiration. And that's why you can hear it through her music. You can see it through her actions, her clothing, like her brand.
And I think what's really cool about a lot of those female artists who are really big these days is when asked who they have around them, often queer people who they have around them, and their entourage is often made up of queer individuals because, one, we're empowering and supportive to women. We want to see them succeed. We want to see them do better. We want them to feel good about themselves all the time. And we're here to boost a sister up. Like, I don't understand how this world has this backwards idea that women are not supposed to be boosted up at all times. But again, we live from the male gaze perspective. And that's, again, not to say that they aren't getting any kind of boost. It's just to say that they deserve even more because women are foundational and queer people are foundational. And same way that cis-het people are foundational. We all have our place in our society, and we just need to make sure that we're being equal in the way that we provide our attention. And that means using platforms like ours to help build that balance and bring up the queer and the women and the people of color who do not often get that representation that truly matters. So we're two white people. So like, we're not going to be able to necessarily fill out every single relatable tick or representational tick, but we can damn sure try to make sure that the people on the other side of the camera feel related to us, feel represented by us. And so we can use our voices to uplift people around us. And that's why we have our guest today, DJ Robin Rhoades. We want to make sure we're giving spotlights to people who matter in our community and people who put their lives on the line to make sure that they are out in the public and seen every day. Being a trans person in Oklahoma is not easy. Being a trans woman in Oklahoma is definitely not easy.
Being a trans woman, period.
In America, in the whole world, period, anywhere. It's not easy. And for Robin to feel as strong as she does to come out and be on stage and put herself in front of everyone as her authentic self, I think that is one of the most beautiful things that I've ever witnessed. And I'm extremely lucky to be able to be dating their twin brother, Ty, to be able to witness it from that lens as well. Because the way that Ty looks at Robin whenever Robin is performing makes my heart melt so much. And the way that they interact and the way that they are as musicians and producers of music and all of this, like, it just really makes my heart feel very full because they put all of their love and their care and like their queerness into it. They pour all of that creativity that they possibly can just because that's who they are. That's their magic. So we are going to have Ty and Robin, DJ Robin Rhoades, pop up in here and take over our seats for a little bit, give ourselves a break, let us kind of have a siesta, and let them kind of take over our seats. And we'll be back after this short little intermission with Ty and DJ Robin Rhoades.
Hey guys, it's Ty. I'm here with my twin sister, Robin Rhoades. She's going to tell you a little bit about her work in the local music scene, about her DJing, about her time with some of the local bands, just kind of the ins and outs of Oklahoma City music, to what extent I guess you know about it. And I'll just let you take it away, kind of tell the people what you're about.
I DJ around some different venues locally. I'm part of the cast of Era, which is a local drag troupe, I guess you could call it. Burlesque, showcase. I am involved with just some different groups and organizations that put on some cool stuff. So I just play music in various formats around.
So I guess kind of just getting into like your musical roots. I guess we can just go back all the way to the beginning. I mean, you and I grew up on mostly like rock and roll type like 80s music. That's what our dad would put on all the time.
Yeah.
our mom would listen to a lot of, either like rock country, I think she had this Uncle Cracker CD.
Oh yeah, I remember the Uncle Cracker album for sure. Yeah.
So I mean, I think I remember being a little 4-year-old bopping around to Uncle Cracker.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I remember Uncle Cracker. I remember Dad's like 80s stuff that like I think was very formative for me. A lot of like the new wave stuff, like New Order and
U2. U2 was the big one that he was into. That was kind of our
that was a big window into just being like into bands and stuff. And yeah, I mean, a lot of just that era of music, I think, formed how I just kind of like think about and look at music now, kind of. Like, it's funny, I think one of the first memories that I have of like wanting to play guitar was like I was in mom and dad's bedroom and dad had MTV on and there was a Van Halen music video playing, and I just remember seeing that video and just these dudes in fucking tights and big hair just fucking wailing on their guitars and just being like, whoa, like,
you can do
this
that?
is awesome. And yeah, and then I just became obsessed with the idea of playing guitar. So
yeah, and I mean, we took guitar lessons together. I think when we were about 10 or 11. I did not keep up with it. You had a bit more tenacity than I did in that regard.
Yeah, I think I just kind of took to it. It just, for whatever reason, clicked into my brain a little bit. And I took guitar lessons for a while, and I played in our church's worship band.
You did?
Through like middle school and high school. So that was kind of my first like dip into performing. Which it wasn't like I was super jazzed about the Holy Spirit's music, but it was fun. Like that's where I like first had the experience of like, oh, it's just really fun to like play music with other people and to do it in front of people,
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember you were kind of the person who got me more musically inclined. I feel like that's kind of something that I got from you, was because I remember like one of my first like musical awakenings really was, I think, being in middle school, and you were like, hey dude, like come listen to this song that I found, and it was I think it was Dukes Up by Modest Mouse.
yeah
And then I think you also showed me Evil by Interpol, and those were the two
classic bassline.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, girl, I think that was the moment that you kind of more like that was when I kind of realized how experimental you could get, even within just rock and indie rock.
Mm-hmm.
And that really started me down a rabbit hole of just like finding weirder and weirder music, and just like more niche shit that I can bring to my hipster friends.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of it when I was younger was like the pretension factor of like, oh, I'm listening to like really cool and unique music that no one else is listening to. But I think I was also like, I don't know, I've always enjoyed just weird music and interesting sounds that scratch your brain in a different way. And so I try to bring a little bit of that to the DJing too. And I feel like I'm always just chasing weird sounds that are like new sounds,
Yeah, and that's one cool thing about the EDM side of production is like you can really make any sound that you want to with a synthesizer that the human ear maybe has never even heard before.
Yeah. I mean, you'll hear a lot of producers talking about that kind of thing. Like Sophie and Flume have both talked about like, why would you not want to utilize these like amazing tools that like literally allow you to invent new sounds? Like,
it was a thing like in middle school through high school for us, like people were shitting on Skrillex at the time because like that was kind of, because he was the effeminate, almost queer adjacent artist who was doing something new that people didn't understand, so they just called it like laptop buttons. But like, there's so much going on behind that.
Well, and Skrillex honestly has like set the pace for electronic music in a lot of ways, and a lot of pop music. I mean, whenever he produced that Justin Bieber album in like 16 or 17, that was just what pop music sounded like for a while after that.
Like as goofy as dubstep was, people were like allowing themselves to be goofy, and that was what was giving birth to a lot of new sounds and ideas, I think.
Well, and that's what I like about DJing too, is that you can be as serious as you want to be about it.
Yeah.
Like, which there are moments where I'm like, all right, I'm like taking this seriously and I want to like create a certain vibe or communicate something specific. But then a lot of the time, and really the reason that I first got into it anyway, was just as a fun, different way to engage with music. And our friend Caleb, who DJs as DJ CG Jordan, one of the good straight ones. He's been a DJ for a long time, and we've seen his growth as a musician over the years, and what he's able to produce and the way that he DJs just evolve over time. And so I was just really into what he was doing and curious about it, and kind of started asking him questions.
Yeah, I remember through college he was kind of your drag mother of EDM.
Basically. Yeah. And so he kind of got me started and playing around with it, and taught me a lot of stuff, and then I just kind of have taken off from there. But like it's always just fun to do stuff with your friends. It started off as just a fun way to like engage with music with a friend in a way that I haven't done it before. Yeah. And we still, it's still a channel to sometimes get to do like gigs together and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, that's one thing about creating music, is it's such a powerful bonding experience. Mm-hmm. You're never gonna forget the people that you make a song with,
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, you kind of talked about like trying to find new sounds and like just create newer, like weirder vibes. I guess, how do you kind of take that attitude towards like specifically the queer dance and music scene in OKC specifically?
I think I've found that queer people are generally more open to weird and different kinds of music,
Yeah.
Especially kind of to the crowds that I play to, at least. I mean, mm-hmm. I do some more like pop centered dance nights and stuff.
For sure, like you've done the themed nights,
Chaperone, from the dance parties, and yeah, I mean, those have been really fun and have allowed me to like play to really big rooms, and they're a lot of fun because people are just there for like a specific thing, and you give them that and they're vibing, which is so much fun.
And it gets your name to places that like normally people wouldn't have known you from.
Yeah, and it also has kind of unlocked music for me that I otherwise wouldn't normally be listening to, as I'm like digging through the heaps to find the most obscure thing that I can. I'm not necessarily attuned to like everything that's maybe the most popular and kind of the moment. So I think it forces me to kind of stay on my toes and take in different kinds of music. But as far as like introducing more obscure stuff to different audiences, I think it depends on the show. I mean, I don't really ever try to stick to any specific genre for a whole set, or depending on the room or depending what people are reacting to, I might switch up the vibe. But I try to keep it a good balance of like the stuff that I know is going to hit and the stuff that like people are going to know. And then just like, what's something that I can like introduce to you?
Yeah, like what's something that's been in my ear that I can just kind of
right. Like what's something cool that I just want to show people, or like what's something that has like a cool message and like the lyrics, or or just an artist that I want to put on, like someone who I think deserves more attention,
Yeah. So, who's an artist that's been inspiring you in that way lately?
I really like this group called, I was trying to let the motorcycle pass, but.
Oh shit, yeah.
I really like this group called Sextile.
For some reason I knew that you were going to say that one.
Yeah. I mean, their new album, Yes Please, is my brat for this summer.
Yeah.
It goes so hard. It's just, it's like electro, techno, rave music with like a punk edge.
Yeah, they really only started coming up kind of after COVID.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, before they were doing this goth thing, and then which was still really cool, and they broke up for a while, and then have kind of reunited in the wake of everything. And so, they're killing it, and I think are an example of an artist that tries to say something with their music, and then there's also just like nothing I've ever heard, you know. There's another group that I really like, that I just happened to find on one of my like Spotify deep dives called Kitty Litter.
I don't think you've told me about this one.
I don't know if I've told you about Kitty Litter, but they're this hyper pop trans femme duo, and they made one really good album and then are now on like an indefinite hiatus.
Damn it.
Yeah, they made one album that just whips absolute ass.
Ain't that the Sapphic Flame?
Yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, so I mean, just stuff like that and stuff that I think that people will still vibe with. But I've also done some more experimental sets, like back when I was doing stuff at Point A, whenever they were around Point A.
Yeah, that's kind of where you got your start.
I mean, that was definitely where I got my start. I think sometimes there was more of an opportunity to do more out of left field stuff, and also like depending on the crowd, I might be able to play more like dance music from the 90s and early 2000s that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, if I want to play like Underworld or Orbital or Junkie XL, then, you know, that's the crowd to play to. So, yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, but I mean, I've done some more experimental sets. Like, I played on Valentine's Day for a dissociation show.
Yeah,
they're a local group that does. They put out like noise music and just experimental sound stuff.
Describe noise music.
Noise music. Okay, it's like, I mean, everyone's kind of got their own definition of it, but it's like,
yeah, I mean, because it's
experimental, like audio collages, kind of, with a lot of like field recordings and like just found sounds and things like that, and sampling. Sometimes people will use synthesizers or you know, just create it all within their DAW, or use analog instruments, or my Utmutem, one of my like favorite members of that collective, he like co-runs it with Bird Drugs. Yeah. But he does a lot of like tape ripping. Yeah. Utmutem and Bird Drugs. Those guys rule. And yeah, they just do a lot of really cool stuff with different equipment, and it's fun to see from like a gear perspective, and then also just to experience something different audio wise. The Valentine's Day show was a little different because it was a little more focused on like more rhythmic music and a little more dancier stuff. But I got to play like some industrial kind of heavier stuff for that set too. Just got to play around a lot more. So I mean, I appreciate different gigs for different things. It's fun whenever I get to just play whatever bullshit that I want to. Yeah. But then also, whenever you're playing music that hits and it's connecting with the audience, and you almost kind of become another member of the audience yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Then that sounds pretentious, but it's just, it works best whenever everyone's in it and you can kind of just dissolve into it a little bit. Like another inspiration, I guess, is Nancy Wang or is that her name? From LCD Sound System? I gotta look it up because I want to quote her right. Yes.
Okay, so Nancy Wang.
Yeah, Nancy Wang from LCD Sound System. She's also just been involved in a lot of what anyone who's been on DFA Records is doing. Like, she's been a pretty close collaborator of James Murphy's, and does a lot of DJing herself. And so there was this article with her that I was reading where she was talking about how the mark of a good DJ is if you mostly don't notice them, and because then it's like we're all kind of transported somewhere else a little bit,
Yeah, you're wanting to create an environment.
Yeah, I want people to be paying more attention to the music than me. I'm on stage and I'm like in front of everyone, but
But you're part of the atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm there to be a DJ on the stage, and then the music that I'm playing is what people are going to react to,
Yeah, I feel like DJing and dance music today is kind of like the analog to like old school like dance halls where they would have like brass bands, just kind of tucked away in the corner.
Yeah, I mean I think that's definitely our modern version, and especially in like queer environments, those are our like spaces to go and be and do and exist. So to be able to contribute to that environment in some way, I think is cool.
As a like trans woman entering like the dance EDM music space, specifically as like a DJ, how has that been like interacting with that scene as a whole? And I'm kind of wondering like how you feel your music career path, etc. right now is like authenticated you more in your queerness, or like how you've expressed queerness or felt like your like most authentic self through your musical expression.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my experience in like venues and stuff, getting my start at Point A and participating in like drag shows and things like that, being part of Era, really getting my start with Siege the Troll, and then working with Paprika Cherry a lot. I've gotten to mostly perform and exist in queer environments, and so that's made it a lot more comfortable and a lot easier, and I think that feels purposeful to me.
Yeah.
I think whenever I'm like at a place that's not specifically like a queer spot,
just like
or
a more
part of a
general
drag show, if it's just like a booking at a bar or something, there tends to be a little more nervousness. I mean, it depends again on like the night, on the crowd. You can pick up on a vibe pretty quick, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm mostly interested in playing for queer audiences. That feels like kind of the best use of my time and energy. And yeah, I mean, I think as I've come out, I mean, it wasn't really until I came out and started transitioning that I started doing any kind of like public performance again. I mean, I did church stuff in high school, but then
yeah, shit, I guess you're right.
I mean, I took a big gap of like not performing, and I mean, because I mean, it took me finding like a sense of self and a sense of like self-confidence to, I think, start putting myself out there and feel like I had anything to say. Really.
Yeah, and just releasing music is such, I mean, sharing any art is such a daunting thing. And I've been trying to kind of get past that myself because, you've been teaching me a little bit of the ropes on the turntables, and I've been producing a little bit of my own in the background, but I've always just felt like such a novice even still that like I don't like necessarily have the I guess I don't necessarily have the confidence at all times to be like, yeah, people want to hear like what you said, like people like what I have to share isn't that important. Like that's what like always runs through my mind is like the negative self-talk. But that's just like that's the id speaking. Like,
right. Yeah. And then I think the thing that like feels good to me about it, and the thing that like makes me want to keep on doing it, is it just feels good to like provide a moment, like an opportunity for queer joy to happen, and for me to be able to be like a facilitator of that feels good and feels important. And then I think in any context, whether it's in a queer space or a queer show, or if it's in front of a cis audience. I mean, I think both are important. I for different reasons. I think it's important for other queer people to see someone else just out there doing the thing. Not to like, I'm not patting myself on the back or anything for it, but I think it's just representation is good and visibility is good. And if I have an opportunity to do that with a thing that I can do, then I think that's a good way for me to spend my energy. And playing in front of cis audiences, I think it's a good opportunity for them to see a trans person up on stage. You know? I mean, most people are gonna be cool, you know. And
yeah, I mean, in the middle of OKC, most people aren't gonna like necessarily acknowledge that they've even like met a trans person.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's yeah, it feels like important, I think, to be seen as a trans person sometimes.
Yeah, like to show people there's more of us than you realize.
Yeah, like I'm just a person who is also out here in society doing something.
Yeah, just taking part in the culture.
Yeah, and I'm not, I like
providing for it.
Yeah, and I'm like a happy, active person.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you're the happiest I've ever seen you at this point in your life. Like,
I would say so. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, yeah, the moment I think that you came out and started kind of coming into your own as an artist again was when I was like, oh shit, I have my sibling back, because like I hadn't seen you like that uninhibited as a creator since we were kids, when we didn't have some of that like beaten out of us.
Right.
I mean, not literally beaten out of us.
Well, but just by like life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. And I mean, yeah, like you've helped me come really far in my artistry and like kind of coming into my like identity as an artist. And like I've also had like a lot of inspirations musically, like kind of through my upbringing. I mean, like one person who was really big for me was Will Wiesenfeld, the producer.
Yeah.
He goes mainly by Baths, also Geotic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one of the first gay producers who I had ever encountered. Is one of the most like unapologetic for it who I've ever encountered. I mean,
yeah, Laura Jane Grace definitely had that effect on me too.
Laura Jane Grace.
I think she was maybe the first trans femme like musician that I was aware of at the time, at least. Like, we had a pretty sheltered childhood, I would say, but I think she was the first like trans woman doing like stuff that I wanted to do, and it was like, oh, okay, shit, like I can do that, So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think you've taught me a lot about like my identity through art, and just being able to express myself authentically through music. And I mean, I really am coming to a point where I'm starting to feel like I'm able to share my art and share my work, and that I do have a voice to say. And I think that comes from you, because you kind of showed me that. And I mean, like, I think especially watching you up on stage at Scissortail Park last year for Pride was a big moment for me, because I don't know, like, I don't know if you realize, but like you have amassed quite a significant following through the queer community.
Oh, really?
I mean, you're really kind of an ascendant sound of Oklahoma in a really cool way.
Gassing me up.
No, I mean, it's fucking true. Like, I mean, it's important that people like us are impacting the culture, and I think that you're being one of the most like visible and like by extension vulnerable people who are willing to like be at the front line of our culture and represent us. I mean, we like, that's literally the legacy of Sophie.
Yeah, I hope I don't go out like her, but
but I mean, just as an important like contributor to queer art,
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I mean, I just kind of like I was saying, I try to just use what I know how to do in a way that feels the most useful, you know? So, yeah, that's what I try to do.
So I guess kind of our final query, as we are wrapping things up, I'd just kind of like to know just kind of a quick bullet list of like who are your like biggest local inspirations artistically, who are your biggest like major, wider scope artists, and then just kind of, what inspires you and motivates you just kind of in an elevator pitch to keep going through your music career as you are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to kind of look at it as like a music career because it's like
you've been doing this for years now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, to me, it's just still a fun thing that I do and happens to be gaining some traction, I guess. But yeah, I mean, as far as local artists go, I mean, the local DJ scene has so many talented people, especially talented queer women behind the decks. I mean,
Isis Payne,
she's so cool to work with. Yeah, super stoked for the next era with her on June 22nd.
Get your tickets
at the District Pool. And yeah, so I mean, she's killer. Avo and Phalian, OKC's EDM power couple. Yeah, they both kill it. And yeah, I mean, as far as there's so many good local bands too. I mean,
you've done some work with a couple.
Yeah. Which, if you want good queer music in OKC and Tulsa, or I don't know, maybe they're covering some areas outside of that now too, but support transmusic.ok on Instagram. The people who run that are working really hard to keep people informed about trans people performing around town. So
yeah, it's a huge contribution, and not one that I think it's recognized enough.
Yeah. So I mean, a band that we played with that I really liked in Tulsa, Pluto Rouge. They're like a proggy kind of thing. I mean, all three of them are just incredible at their instruments. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, I'm sad to see that. What were they called?
I can't help you.
I can't help you. Trans band that was
the trans band.
Chupacabra Jet Ski.
Chupacabra Jet Ski.
This has got to be cut because this is garbage. But
tell me more about Chupacabra Jet Ski.
Chupacabra Jet Ski was was a local band that had several trans people in it, but one of them left town, and so they disbanded.
Damn.
They were doing some really cool stuff for a while, so I was going to shout them out, but they're not a thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you worked with a lot of like local drag artists too. I mean, and that kind of,
I guess I need to be thinking outside of just music. I mean, yeah, like I mentioned, like Siege of the Troll and Paprika Cherry, both gave me some of those earliest gigs at Point A, and Tapatio also for scooping me up for the Eracast. They super didn't have to do that. Like, I had really only just played a few shows before they were like, hey, come DJ for me in this new show that I'm doing. And I'm like, okay. But I mean, it really was the local drag scene and seeing a lot of the same performers that I'm working with now and have gotten to know that were really a window into my own self-expression and my own kind of self-understanding. I think it's true for a lot of baby gays. Whenever you first start going out to the clubs and you see the beautiful drag performers and you are shown maybe a part of yourself that you weren't aware of or weren't acknowledging. And so I think it's definitely like an honor to get to work with those performers now and all of these people who are doing amazing, awesome performing art here in the city. So I mean, the whole cast of Era is amazing. I mean, I've been trying to do more like songwriting and more like instrumental type stuff or guitar driven music. So Destroyer is a band that really influences me. And then Alex G.
New album dropping this summer.
Alex G. Summer. And I like the way that both Alex G and Destroyer, their songs always have lyrics that are really like kind of abstract and cryptic. Horse Jumper of Love is another band that does that. And so I like those lyrics that are kind of hard to put your finger on. And so that's what I think I try to emulate in that regard. But I mean, as far as dance music and stuff, I mean, I'm still bumping that Brat. I'm still, rocking with Chapel Roan. And I'm trying to think if there's any. I mean, Frost Children is a producer duo that I've really been vibing with lately. They're a genderqueer pair of siblings, and they make just this insane hyperpop type stuff. Their album Speed Run is the one that I recommend starting with. But yeah, I like people who are making really out of the box type stuff. And I think I kind of try to just follow that instinct a little bit.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll let you go. Thanks so much for being on the pod. But before we do that, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yes. So I will be DJing on June 20th at the Oklahoma City Zoo for the Pride Sip and Stroll. I will be at the District Hotel on June 22nd for Era. That's going to be a fundraiser for OKC Pride at Scissortail, which I will also be performing at on Friday, June 27th.
Hell yeah.
Booked and blessed.
Well, I guess that's about all we have. I guess that's all we have for you.
All right, thanks.
Marcus, thanks. We'll give it back to Slayde and Dylon now.
Hello, everybody. We are back from our lovely little intermission with sometimes Ty and our special guest, DJ Robin Rhoades.
Yes.
I was sitting behind the scenes, and it was a wonderful segment to listen to. I'm very excited to just get to kind of piece that together and have people hear what Robin has to say, because I think she touched on a lot of really important parts of like making sure that people are visible and making sure people hear and listen and like actually understand that they're just people. She's just a person who also DJs, and like reducing the amount of stigmatization that just goes behind, well, this person is more than da 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 da. And I really liked how she was like, I'm just a DJ who's trying to make music and make my spot, and like this is my art, this is how I express myself. It's not about like going big and getting big and huge, and it's very, very good to be able to see an artist just be an artist and express themselves like we are here. And yeah, I think it's really cool that we even had the opportunity to have somebody on an episode, and that's only episode 3. So like,
yeah, I appreciate Robin stopping by and definitely giving her input on what it takes to be DJ in the Oklahoma City scene and what she's learned, what she's been through, what influenced her. So it was a really nice topic of conversation to understand and comprehend and deep dive into that world that, is aloof to so many. And many people might just think DJing is just so easy. You just show up and press a button, but so much more goes into it. And the stage presence and the confidence. And it's not easy to put yourself out and make content. So I really appreciate her stopping by and giving the pod some love.
Yes, very much so. That's kind of what Pride Month is all about, is sharing that love with one another, making sure we all feel special in our own ways. I wanted to give us the opportunity to kind of dive into who our artists are, whether that be music or our lovely people, which the camera can't necessarily see too much of it anymore, but we have queer art behind us. This is our queer art wall. We as two queer individuals make it a point to lift up our community.
Mm-hmm.
And I want us to be able to talk openly about why we do that and who inspires us to be who we are today.
Yeah.
If you want, I can go first, or if you want to take it.
I mean, my biggest inspiration ever all time and has stuck with me through my like just childhood and been through like my own queer journey and has built me a lot of confidence is Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. Knew that.
She is a beacon of hope, and it goes beyond. It transcends music. It is a feeling. It is a culture. It is a movement. It is a statement. She lets people know that, hey, it's okay to be yourself no matter who you are, what you look like, what you sound like, where you come from. Like, we all can just enjoy dance music together. And I think that's where my love of that kind of like music comes from, and why I gravitated to it so much, and why I find so much happiness and joy in dancing and being authentic and loving myself. It's because my mother, Monster, told me it was okay. And so having that support when I didn't always necessarily have it as a kid really stuck with me. And it's been amazing to see her eras and her journey and just how she transforms herself every single time she's on stage or releases a new album. It just really ignites creative passion in me, and I just really find solace and great comfort in the way she sounds and what she has to say, because her lyrics are very deep, and if you sit and listen, there's a lot of story behind every song, like so much meaning, and it just opens up a whole new world. And it's not just about, you know, like love or, you know, whatever popular
beer,
whatever popular trope is, you know, that we talk about in music all the time. Like I appreciate the lyricism and the effort that she puts into crafting, you know, songs, especially for queer people and for us to celebrate too. So I appreciate her a lot for that.
I mean, Gaga is that bitch. Like, Gaga has made a full statement, and we know where Gaga stands on several things. She is very clear about who she supports, how she supports them, and she goes out of her way to shout out.
It's all about love. She always comes from a place of love, and it's always about, you know, always just staying focused on yourself and your own happiness and drowning out a lot of the noise. So that part of living authentically. And she is one of those inspirational people for me as well. Like, she is somebody who's unapologetic. She knows when she walks into a room that even if she gets asked some outlandish question, she's going to be able to say something that is kind still. Who's someone else that inspires you?
I would very much like to talk about Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus is somebody who, as a kid, I didn't necessarily get that close with. I knew what Hannah Montana was allowed to watch it a little bit. Love that she recently talked about how Hannah Montana was just a drag queen and like for kids, and like perfect way to put that. But then as she started to age, we all saw her going through her bangers era and dealing with her like drug addictions and having to come out of sobriety, and then dealing with breakups and like divorces and getting cheated on and all of this stuff. And she's been through so much, and she's able to convey it all through her words, through her song, through the production of it all. This latest album that just came out, Something Beautiful, it is in fact very beautiful. It's extremely experimental. She dives into like some Cher, some Fleetwood Mac aesthetics, while also like really digging into like some like just loud sounds and like grungy, and it's beautiful. It's something beautiful, truly. And the way she writes and the words that she puts into her stories about her life inspires me a lot. Same with SZA. Like, the way that she writes, the way she chops up her songs, and the way she makes me feel like I'm singing with her. And it's not like I'm stopping, like there's no stop. There's just, she just goes and she flows. And I look at music as a flowing stream. Like there's just, I don't know. I know that sometimes Ty back here has talked about how it's very blocky, and like he likes the analytical side of things where you can individually place things.
Playlist vibes. Creation.
Well, in the form of creation, I've been messing around with some music production on the side.
Coming to DJ herself.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go out that far. Just playing around with some band labs. It's free if anyone wants to play too.
Yeah, I feel like Miley also just has really good relatability. Like, it's easy to understand where she's coming from, mostly because, I mean, kids like me who grew up with her and watched her on Hannah Montana and, you know, saw, you know, this amazing rock star cunt and just rip it off that wig and be, I'm just an ordinary girl. Yes. And then, like, you know, just there's a person in there with so much heart and so much emotion. And like you said, she played pretty much a drag queen and a rock star or just a normal girl who goes on to the stage and perform something and have creative expression. So, you know, and that's the thing is, like, in these allies like Gaga and Miley, even though that they have their own queer journeys, they just uplift the queer community and embrace all aspects of what it's like. And, you know, every personality has their music really just draws the different and the unique crowd. And I feel like we appreciate it much more just because we know where it's coming from.
And I mean, they'll straight up say they're making music for the gays.
Yes,
like part. They're very forward about, like, this is for the gays. And
as Gaga would say, forgotten the gays.
Yes, because we're often forgotten about. And I mean, we have periods of history where there's just for pieces of us gone.
And, like, you know, people are just like, oh, it's not affecting me. So, you know, I don't need to uplift that community. And it's like, no, like, we're brothers, we're sisters, we're friends, we're neighbors. Like, there's a lot of queer people that can use the love and uplifting from any community, regardless of gender or identity. So I feel like if we just all, you know, come together and start supporting each other, that's where, like, the genre mixing comes in, and just, you know, appreciating music for music, and instead of always, you know, worrying about labeling it. So
full circle moments right here on the pod today.
Yes. There's pros and there's cons, and there's such different ways to view music and to appreciate it, and, you know, at the end of the day, not allow the corporate greed and the people controlling the money to really influence you. Just let the music influence you and try and drown out the other noise that's not so important.
So I'd like to transition into a conversation about why it's so important to really facilitate pride, and especially in how we play the music that we play. And kind of why it's so important in especially the month of Pride to promote queer artists and queer artistry in general.
Because we are just a fraction. We're a tiny sliver of this big old world, and, you know, we're just trying to find our place in it.
And we just want to feel accepted and, like, welcome. And we truly just want to be able to be ourselves and people like that.
And as queer people, we always invite everyone, regardless if you're straight, gay, bi, man, even woman, transgender, cis or not. You know, everybody's always welcome to a queer party as long as your intentions are good and you have love to give. And I just feel like that's a lot of the misconceptions that maybe a lot of non-queer people don't quite understand. Is maybe they're like, oh, they're trying to convert, oh, they're trying to push, oh, they're trying to do this and that. And, like, we're just out here trying to have a good time, shake our ass and spread love, and you know, allow yourself to be free and do what you want and not be conditioned by social norms all the time and always being told what to do and what to wear and what to say, and just feel safe in a space.
What kind of art to make. Because there are people who want to literally tell others how they should operate, how they should make their art, how they should walk down the street, how they should dress, how they should paint their face.
And Pride just says, fuck you to all that.
And it's for me, I've only been able to celebrate Pride for like 4 years. This will be like 4th or 5th year that I've actually been able to live openly. And actually I came out at like 21, 22. So it's not been a long time for me to be able to go to Prides. And this year feels like it has to be special because Pride, this one's going to be Pride for the people. Like, we had a lot of issues.
A lot of self-funding.
Yes, because, I mean, we all know what happened in the world. DEI got rolled back, and a lot of corporations decided that they no longer wanted to support Pride and the LGBT+ movement because they no longer needed to get that coin. You know, the high gay sashay into deals today.
Oh, someone's offended by our rainbow collection. We gotta stop, you know.
The whole Target situation, like,
lots of reasons for people to, continue to show up and show out for us because, corporations aren't stepping up a whole lot this time around.
Yeah.
So,
and they're leaving us out high and dry. They're straight up just being like, we no longer are required to like you. So we no longer like you. And like, they don't like it if we do
even
that.
if they don't, even if it's not coming from a place of we don't like you, it's just coming from a place of, oh, well, we don't want to,
we don't want to deal with the backlash of
we don't want to deal with
even
the backlash.
If it's an aisle in our ginormous store that has plenty of other people in it represented. Representation matters. And I think that that's something that we've heard repeated several times tonight through us, through Robin, through Ty. Representation matters. And it's something that we need to be finding and giving to other people.
And music is such a great way to express that.
Yes.
Making sure that queer music is being heard by queer people and by everyone, and just giving them a chance to shine and
destigmatizing it, because the more we talk about it in our music, the more people hear it, and that comes that visibility piece. Maybe it's not literal like with your eyes, but you're hearing it. You're becoming more cognizant of the fact that we exist. People like Robin exist. People like Ty exist. People like me exist. People like you exist. But we're all different individuals in those ways as well. So giving someone guidelines on how to be who they want to be is just not acceptable to me. I have always tried to figure out how to be like the other person in the room, or like paint the same way. I can preach on this. Last evening, I was trying to paint, and I did not want to brush anymore because I was tired of the brush. So what did I do? I took the fucking plastic spatula, plopped some paint down, and just painted with the spatula. Completely different way to approach painting. Did not think about doing it until the moment where I literally picked it up and went, you know what, this just seems easier for me right now. So I just mixed a bunch of paints, popped them down, spread them out. And it's art. It's abstract art. And I will fully say that Ty is somebody who made me realize that I have artistic abilities. One of the first things that they told me whenever I gave them their first Christmas present from me, which was a piece of art that I had made previously that I then like customized a little bit more to, I put my feelings into it to give to Ty for Christmas, because I am not big on spending a lot of money whenever I could give a personal item as a gift instead. And they were very perceptive to it and extremely kind in how they approached telling me that they thought it was beautiful. And I didn't grow up in a household where artistic abilities were necessarily encouraged or appreciated or like given to me. Like, I did not have a lot of access to those things after a certain point. There was no band practice for me. It wasn't an option because of how I was raised. Yes. So now as an adult, being able to take steps back in my own life and say, okay, I need to learn a lot. I need to relearn how to be creative. I need to relearn how to have confidence in myself when it comes to creating things. I'm terrified to be releasing something like a podcast because people are going to watch this. And my face is going to be all over this. Your face is going to be all over this.
And have to deal with, like people and like engaging or people commenting or people liking, what kind of reaction you're going to get for putting out something personal and intimate. And so it is scary, and it is, music makes me feel a lot better is I can always go back to that as a staple for me to calm down and to create the creativity, just get the wheels turning. And it helps me a lot zone in and focus and find inspiration. So creating art creates art. So I'm just very happy for that medium and the artists that support queer people and make music for queer people and recognize queer people and give them a place to shine in their shows, as a feature on the tour. Like artists that just really uplift. And I feel like people understand that and see that and really respect artists that show diversity and show, all different types of people that, you don't get to see all the time and unique talents.
I mean, when someone's vulnerable, that's bravery. Those are interchangeable. And that is extremely powerful in like translating messages. So Gaga, Miley, all these divas, Chapel, like all of these artists who are now like fully focused on highlighting our community because they see the injustice that this world has put our community through. We have whole generations because of the AIDS epidemic that don't exist. Like we don't have that community to look up to, and there's music that we never got to hear. There are people, artists who died out that did not get to fully release themselves to this world. Freddie Mercury died before he would have been done with his music. You know how revolutionary it would have been to keep having Queen for like 2 more albums, 3 more albums? It'd be crazy. We lost so much art because people didn't care about us. We have to see that change.
You got to keep pride around. Pride is always just an example of just showing that it gives someone a reason to live because they're like, okay, like if there's people like me, if people can and are willing to accept me and my talent, then maybe there is a reason worth living. And that's why pride is so important. And playing queer music at Pride is very important, and showcasing, you know,
queer talent
and all facets, regardless of what you look like, what you sound like.
So the last thing that I want to touch on before we exit for the day is how we're going to grow, because we have to rely on the community to help us reach the community. And my goal, our goal with Queeries, whether it be the podcast or the media hub that is a future endeavor that I want to unravel, giving people like Robin a place, and then having the ability to say, hey, like this is an example piece now. We want to be able to spread out and get sponsorships from people and put ads in here and like shout out businesses, shout out nonprofits, do all of these things to benefit the community and the people who support the community, who would support us too. I know it's, again, I don't care about the money really, but we do have to survive at some point. And so we have to make sure that we're
just if you like the channel, if you support the channel, please just give it a good old like, subscribe, comment. Engaging is the best way for us to reach others. So we just appreciate each and every one of our very special viewers.
Exactly.
We appreciate all of you, and it means a lot to us to be able to give a platform to speak on and to give content to those who want and need it. Yeah. So we appreciate that, and any support given would be very beneficial. But definitely those interactions and stuff will get us a long way.
Yeah. So like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, whatever the deal is on the platform that you are on.
And that way we can, you know, really build that base to get, you know, people who want to sponsor us to a place where they feel comfortable, where they're like, okay, okay.
We need to be able to show
conversations are needed.
Yeah, we need to show the world that what this situation that's happening here is important. And
so take pride in everything queer, and we love and appreciate all of you, and thank all of you for so much support.
Yes. Thank you so much for every second that you have watched this video, because it is a podcast, so it's not short.
Yeah. And drop a few comments below. Who are your favorite artists? Who has inspired you? What were your favorite parts of this? If you're listening on Substack, feel free to chime in on our Instagram, on our YouTube, our other platforms. Right here. Follow us on the IG and YouTube at Queeries.pod. It's right here.
Right there. See, there's an arrow even pointing at it. All of that to say that this is a grand adventure for us to be able to take, and we could not do it without you all. So continue to just be yourselves and let us be ourselves, and
have a gay old time.
Have a gay old time, mama. Let's just be gay, girl.
Yes. Let live.
Let love, let live.
Bye, y'all.
N-E-S.
N-E-S.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for watching Queeries. We will see you next
week.
Bye. Okay. This will be fun. Thank you. Good job, everybody.